All right. You want to hear the intro I wrote?
Yeah.
All right. Today I'll be speaking with Justin Wong, a married man with 3 young children. He's a seasoned business consultant based in Plano, Texas, having dedicated over a decade to optimizing business operations and is currently a manager at Primed Business Consulting. He's founder of Firebrick Advisory, a business operations improvement consulting services firm, and a partner of S2J Group, our private equity firm. He has an MBA from SMU in Dallas and graduated from the UT Austin engineering program. I've known Justin since the 9th grade, I believe, and he is one of my closest friends. Do I have those facts right?
Yeah. Where did you get all that stuff?
It's amazing. I was trying to think hard about you factually and how I know you, and it took me a long time to figure that out. So then I also asked ChatGPT for some help.
You mean how you know me, like our friendship history, or thinking back? Like,
yeah,
from 9th grade.
Friendship history and what you've done, what you do. Actually, I don't even remember how we exactly met. I imagine it was through orchestra or something.
Yeah, I remember we were on the bus coming back from an orchestra event, and you and Leon were sitting in the row behind me. And I think Michael Jordan was really popular, the basketball player, popular at the time. And you were joking, hey, what if we bottled up Michael Jordan's essence and called it ass? like a sweaty essence. so you spray it on yourself and people will be like, oh, you smell like my ass.
Yeah, you would have been in the better orchestra, right? So that makes sense.
No, you were in the better orchestra. You were
okay, that makes sense. That's right, because of Leon. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's probably how we became more social.
Yeah.
You and the other okay, that makes sense.
But then
weren't you playing with the violas as a violinist? For some reason, I remember that. No,
I think I was friends with one
violin?
of the viola players.
Okay.
Yeah, he was just a goofy guy, so he and I got along.
Yeah, I remember that guy. I remember you were friends with him.
Yeah,
it was probably our trip to San Antonio or something.
That sounds about right.
Good.
Yeah,
good memory. It sounds like something I would say, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Well, but the Biggie video is the one that really cemented our friendship.
For sure. And you were born in Texas, right?
Plano? Yeah, I was born in Dallas.
Yeah,
but
your mom was born in Plano.
Yeah, well, my mom was born in Dallas also, so we didn't move to Plano till I was in 8th grade.
I thought your mom's father grew up in or raised her in Parker County or something, somewhere north of Plano or east of Plano.
No, in East Dallas, kind of like near the White Rock Lake area. There's a really old neighborhood that, a lot has grown up around it, but it's pretty well known as the M Streets because all the streets start with the letter M. And it's kind of close to, it's just a really neat neighborhood with old trees and wide lanes and houses built in the 40s. So it's just got some really unique architecture and a very family neighborhood feel to it. And so that's where she grew up.
For some reason, I don't know why I remember Parker, on a farm in Parker County or something.
No, we don't have anything to do with Parker, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all Dallas, but if you go kind of in the South Dallas side of things, near the Dallas Zoo, there's a road called Zang Boulevard, Zang, and my grandfather used to have a Chinese grocery store in that area. And that was when kind of like North Dallas High School, which is pretty much in the center of Dallas proper nowadays.
Mhm.
That high school was called North Dallas High School because that used to be North Dallas.
Oh, how do you
Yeah.
know all that?
I mean, just growing up, my mom told
Oh,
me about, and she went to school in the Dallas school district. So she wasn't zoned for that particular high school, but she did go to a Dallas high school.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh, does she still have friends from those days that still live in Dallas?
Yeah, yeah, she's got,
Oh,
some friends from college. She went to SMU, and so she was in the art program,
oh,
so she
she's a
made.
Mustang too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
She's got, some college friends that she still keeps in touch with. I don't know if she still really keeps in touch with high school friends. I don't even remember when her last high school reunion was, but every time she comes back from one, she's like, "Well, it the size is shrinking. Fewer and fewer people are showing up now, and it's getting, just because people are not surviving."
mhm. I guess that's
Yeah,
one way to put it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, how do you believe being born in Texas has influenced your life?
I think
Like,
it's, well, uh, it's funny you asked that. I think, when we were doing, like, college admissions and applications and stuff, I had to come up with a pretty unique story to differentiate myself.
okay.
Uh, and at that time, I thought, well, I'm kind of straddling between the American culture and the Chinese culture, and being born in Texas and raised here, I've got like strong American influence, but still tied to my cultural roots. I still feel that a little bit, but the older I get, I mean, the more I get entrenched I get, or the more deep rooted I become in the values that I've kind of been developed over the last 40 years. When you're 20 years old, everything's still pretty flexible, but
Mhm.
nowadays I have, I guess, probably less tolerance, or less willingness to change.
And when you mean those values, are you suggesting more of your parents' cultural values, or think more that's Texas based, or more something that's kind of a hybrid of what you and your wife have together developed?
Um, so I think it's hard to know what Texas values are compared without having. If you haven't really lived outside of Texas, you can't really say what's a Texas value versus what's an American value versus what's
Sure.
a Western value. Um, I would say that definitely Chinese values are family oriented and paying respects to your elders and like honoring elders and older people, which is a stark contrast to what I see as kind of Western slash American culture values, which is, I mean, still honoring elders, but not really doing much, uh, or putting much effort into it. So my grandfather is the elder of of our family, and we have had to put him into a nursing home or a hospice care assisted living facility. But so that's like an American value or an American action. You'd expect that,
Hmm.
the older generation would come and live with the younger generation. Like there's no question about that. Um,
But that particular decision isn't something necessarily you made, or you would have had a sizable influence, would it?
not for my grandfather, no.
Yeah.
Like for my own parents, I have a lot of influence on that. I'm the oldest child for my kids, and I'm the only
Mhm.
son, so I think there's a lot of responsibility that rests on me. My parents raised me not without, I mean, not to have that expectation though. I mean,
Mhm.
they said, "Yeah, the Chinese value, this is how it is,
Mhm.
but we don't expect that of you."
So
So,
where is it coming from? It skipped the generation? Because
um,
your mom was, like you said, born here.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. My dad's mom stayed with us when we were
Mhm. I
younger,
don't know.
so
Yeah.
I mean, that was normal to me. Like I didn't think it was weird that grandma had her own room in our house. and we'd see her every day, and she'd like cook dinner and spend time with us, and we'd tell stories together. I'd hear about her past because she lived with us. But yeah, I think because um, my mom is not the son, so she didn't inherit that responsibility
I
or
see.
didn't have that expectation put on her.
Hmm. Yeah, if I'm reflecting on who I know and still know in Texas, maybe the cost of housing influenced it a lot, but do feel like I did know a decent amount of quote unquote Americans that were not Asian that had their parents live with them or at least in the same neighborhood.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wonder if it's because housing is affordable enough and plentiful enough and per square foot. That's more there's that financial incentive that allows those accommodations despite the culture you might think that discourages it or doesn't actively encourage it as much as what you said is Chinese culture.
So like it's financially driven as opposed to culturally. I think that I mean, so one of my friends, he is Chinese. He happens to be Chinese. He built a house out in Parker or Murphy, which is kind of in that
Okay.
area. But the developer had like floor plans already built or blueprints you could choose from. And this particular one that he built had like a dual. It's not politically correct,
Kitchen?
but like master suites, right? You can't call it master suites anymore for whatever
I
reason.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Could you call it a master bedroom?
No,
No? Oh, it's primary.
master implies like slavery and stuff, so you can't say
Oh,
master anymore.
Chinese slavery, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Forced labor.
Yeah.
Anyway, like it
Okay.
has, so I'll call it that. It's just two
Yeah, I
master suites.
gotcha.
So one for him and his wife, and then the other master suite was like his parents lived
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
And so he built the house that way,
Mhm.
but it was an option in the floor plan. So I mean, in order for it to be an option in the floor plan, there must be some kind of a demand for it.
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember in Houston, we looked at several homes that had not only a separate in-law suite, it also had a separate in-law, like a pantry kitchen, not like a studio kitchen inside the in-law suite, but there was
Mhm.
another kitchen behind the kitchen,
Oh,
like a utility room with the kitchen. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
yeah, that'd be so awesome. Like
Yeah.
to be able to, I mean, you could rent it out if you wanted to, or you
No,
know,
it wasn't even that. I think real the sales agent was trying to not be politically incorrect, but the way I understood it was either it's if you can afford someone else to come cook for you, that's what you'll do it in private. But my understanding was it's maybe non-American in-laws that come in and cook foods that are maybe has
oh,
different unique
ethnic.
smells because it had a door. It wasn't like an open concept kitchen either. It was like a utility room. I thought that was pretty clever. But I
So
should say
was
that, yeah,
so was it like an actual in-law suite that had its own like private access and its own
the
bedroom
in
and its
suite.
own kitchen?
Yeah, I remember
Okay.
this. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we see a lot of that in Tucson, except the kitchen is inside the suite. That we've seen tons of those in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but those homes I saw in Houston, it was just a separate small kitchen.
In a utility closet or in
Yeah, in the utility
utility.
closet.
Yeah. Man, that'd be really nice to have something like that, I feel.
Well, isn't that what you're trying to build in your patio, your barbecue station?
Well, I mean, I suppose I could try and enclose it out and extend with a kitchen area out there. That
Hmm.
might work. I mean,
Yeah.
I have space. I just have to spend a ton of money to convert it into something that would be livable. And then I think you have to get special permits because now all of a sudden you got to run like a separate electric meter. And you got to get occupancy
Oh,
stuff and pay taxes separately. I mean, to do it the right way, it could be expensive, but if you're just gonna bolt on something with your own private contractor and never plan to sell the house, like
hmm.
you could probably make it work.
Okay. Speaking of barbecue, you got me into starting smoking during COVID. So what initially sparked your interest in barbecuing, smoking briskets and ribs the old-fashioned way?
I like to eat,
Yeah.
but when I was really active with Firebrick, my consulting firm, uh, I was doing some business development, and I linked up with one of the Chamber of Commerce, the local Chamber of Commerce, and their big fundraiser of the year was a barbecue event. Um, so being in Texas, I mean, barbecue's a natural thing. So I got to meet some pretty cool people and ate some good barbecue, watched people make barbecue, learned how some of them do it. And
Ah,
I just thought, oh, well, I want to give it a try. I inherited a smoker grill that kind of sat in my backyard for a long time and I never really used it. Um, and so after that first barbecue event, I decided to give it a shot and failed miserably. I didn't do brisket. I actually tried to smoke a turkey for Thanksgiving, and that was a
your first
mistake.
attempt was a turkey for Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
yeah. It was undercooked.
Sure.
I I
Even
prepped
the skin, huh? Yeah.
I prepped the turkey as if it were going to go into an oven. So, like the recipe for brining, like I didn't even know about brining turkey.
Okay.
I just like followed a Paula Deen recipe or something where she stuffed butter in the skin and put
Mhm.
some uh, stuffing inside, and yeah, it was a turkey Thanksgiving turkey, but it was more like oven roasted style, not smoked. So anyway, thankfully my mom had a backup plan. She'd already had another turkey shipped in. So even though my turkey was undercooked,
She
we
went back home or you called her before she showed up?
no, I mean, I woke up early to try to get the smoker going. I didn't know how long it was
I
gonna take
see.
to get the fire going.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew how long I had to smoke it, but, like, I didn't account for transportation time and thawing time and all this other stuff.
Mm,
So, it needed, like, 4 more hours to cook.
yeah.
Yeah, and, we didn't have it, so, I ended up just, like, finishing it in the oven because that was
But probably got enough smoke on it.
I
Oh,
yeah,
no?
it had some smoke on it.
Yeah, I
It
see.
was not very much. Like I didn't even get the fire and the smoker that strong. So I mean, there was some smoke, but I'm much better at it now.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
yeah.
Certainly.
I
Oh,
didn't do a turkey last year or the year before, but the year before that I did do a turkey. I butterflied it and um I did it the right way. So it came out
okay.
really good.
If you started over again, what would you do differently?
From the first time or
Just getting into smoking. So,
oh, oh man.
are you still
Um,
using the hand-me-down?
yeah.
Oh, that's what you're using. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a offset firebox and everything. I
Mhm,
like doing it because there's a little bit of an art to it. You don't always get the same consistent barbecue every time, and there's a
mhm.
little bit of a challenge to that and a little bit of fun. You can introduce some new stuff and, um, there it's not as precise as I like stuff to be as an engineer, so I think that makes it a little more, there's some wild card stuff in there. You get a different flavor profile every time, so that
Mhm.
makes it unique. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to sell the barbecue, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me. Like if everyone likes it every time, like the even though it's not consistent, that's okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I like the fact even not just barbecuing, but in cooking in general, when it's not consistent every time. I think that's my trick for cooking for kids. When parents always say kids are picky.
Mhm.
I think parents that are too perfect with their meal because they know, oh, the kid liked it, really liked it last time, so I'm gonna make it. Just like gets their palate too acclimated, either with the sugar or the saltiness or the I don't know what's another good flavor, turmeric. I guess kids aren't that sensitive to turmeric, but yeah, you get the idea. That's why I like to not follow recipe too closely. And when I think in hindsight, remember Jonathan in our Slack channel or WhatsApp told me not just to upgrade and buy the one with the Wi-Fi with the bigger grill. I wish I had done that because the rectech, which has been great. I think I burned so much because it doesn't have that drip pan or the drip tray, right?
Oh.
And
Will
not
it
having the
flare
Wi,
up so it gets really hot and
yeah,
okay,
and
and
not
then
having that
you
Wi-Fi thermometer, I've screwed up so many times. But I think that would be one thing I would change. Like if someone's gonna get started and will commit to it, maybe that's already pretty above average at cooking, then just get the one that's Wi-Fi controlled and big enough to do at least 2 racks of rib comfortably. That's what I would do different.
I would say don't expect your first thing to come out perfect. I
Mm,
mean, or even your third time or fourth time to come out perfect. Like it takes, if you're doing the way that I do it, which is not with any of the temperature gauges or control. I mean, I'm using
yeah,
thermometers, but I'm not using really precise instrumentation other than the thermometer, like to get the fire to a certain temperature and like what kind of wood do you like to use or what kind of meat are you making and how do you prep it? Like there's so many different variables. I would say try to start simple and figure out
and
your
start with a pellet smoker. Starts simple, right? Automatic pellet smoker.
yeah. I love. I mean, when I first saw that Traeger demonstrated to me, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I could definitely use that. So I haven't had a need to go buy a new one yet, but thinking maybe once this current one expires, I might upgrade to a pellet smoker.
And what did you say were your top barbecue joints around Texas?
Um, well, I like convenience and not having to wait. People will tell you, "Oh, that's really great barbecue," but then if you have to wait 2 hours,
Mm,
I'm not going to wait in line for 2 hours to get barbecue unless I really want it, and then I'll go wait. Get up early and go try to beat the line. Um, but for like consistent barbecue that you don't always have to wait a long time, there's one close by in Frisco, Hutchins Barbecue. They're pretty good. They actually started in Hutchins, Texas, but they have a second location, I guess.
where's Hutchins, Texas?
I think it's like west of Fort Worth or south of Fort Worth or something like
Okay.
that. But they opened another location up in Frisco. Another one that I like that's been pretty consistent. I mean, HEB Central Market has
Oh, okay.
pretty good barbecue straight out of their deli.
Hmm.
You don't really have to wait for that.
Do you know where they do smoke their meats
I think they
on
smoke
site?
it like on premises.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
even more impressive.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, I would have thought maybe they smoke it somewhere central, like North Dallas, and then
And then ship
ship
it
it
around.
around.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I can't. They seem to be set up for barbecue because
Hmm.
um, they got a drive through and everything. It's like a restaurant. I like Pecan Lodge in Dallas. They're kind of a local sweetheart for barbecue, but their lines are so crazy long. The only time we ever really eat there is when we got a big order, and then you can call in a catering order and order more than 5 pounds of meat, so you can kind of cut in line and
Yeah,
pick
that's
up your
good.
catering order and take it to go.
Mm. And you lived in Austin. I remember you said you've done the Terry Blacks, the
Hmm.
Franklins, and whatever else there's down there. I
So
saw
I
there's a
don't.
Terry Blacks opening in Waco. I saw a
Oh, is
job.
there?
Yeah,
Nice.
I saw
Yeah,
a job. Yeah.
they opened Terry Black's in Dallas, like right down the street from Pecan Lodge.
Okay, I think you
There's
said that.
bigger dining area, more parking, and the lines are just as long.
Uh,
So
yeah, I'll say that's definitely what I miss about North Dallas or Dallas. Just the variety of food, and you
mhm.
think one restaurant or type of food is there's enough of it already, but people still find reasons to start another barbecue or another. What's another one that came? Oh, In and Out. Yeah, there's like 4 In and Outs near your house, right? Within
Yeah,
5 minute drive, 10-minute drive. It's
yeah,
amazing.
they're all over.
It's amazing. Well, I was gonna then maybe I wanted to ask you something touching on what I brought up with our expectation with our fourth kid. What do you think most people get wrong about raising 3 or more kids that scares them from even having one or more than one in the first place?
Well, I think they have one kid and then it gets overwhelming and they didn't realize what they got themselves into, or maybe it's a financial thing. Like kids are expensive and they take a lot of time. So if you thought that your kid is gonna be able to be self-supporting and not cry all night and be able to feed herself right away, it's not happening. I mean, it's a process. So if if one kid is taking enough of your time, then you're not going to want to have another. We have friends that wanted to have more kids, but they had the first one, and the first one was just such a handful. They decided we can't really do this again. Um, but in our case, I feel like we got lucky. Our first one was really good. Second one also really good. Third one's really good, but we're just too tired now.
That's a narrative I would challenge, not yours, but that your kids are easy. Do you not feel that some people maybe just approach their first, well, not do you think, what do you think makes it difficult for some of those parents when they say their first child or child is difficult?
Um, I mean, I've seen some of these kids that are quote unquote difficult where they're labeled that way. They have a lot of energy or don't really have much discipline, even if the parents are trying to. So this is just from what I see, right? Like I only interact with the
Yeah,
family and the kids like 2 hours at a birthday party,
yeah.
and that's all I could see. Um, but like those difficult kids are the ones that are running around and like can't get them to sit still. You can't tell them to do anything. They won't do it. They won't sit and eat. They won't wash their hands. They'll just do whatever it is they want to do. Um,
You don't feel that if you adopted that kind of kid, they would be different in your environment, either based on your parenting philosophy, your wife's parenting philosophy, the environment you set up, the food you feed them?
I mean, there's certainly like environment stuff that you can influence and your rules in your household that definitely establishes expectations. But I mean, people are all wired differently. Each of my three kids, one of them is really like loves engineering stuff. One of them loves cooking, and the other one loves dinosaurs. Like I wouldn't expect the one that loves cooking to love dinosaurs. That's just not what they do. But I guess from an upbringing perspective, I call them good because, or I call them easier or good because um, they will actually listen to disciplining, and they're not opposed to being corrected. Like there is some struggling there, but they are willing to change and follow the rules. Some
Hmm.
kids just don't want to follow the rules. You can't
Okay.
you can't make them.
And you mentioned early in the beginning about the values that you feel like you're adopting more as you get older that might not necessarily be what your parents had impressed on you directly. Are you passing along similar ones to your kids, or are you approaching them the same way your mom and dad approached you on those
It's,
said values?
it's funny. The older I get, the more I realize I'm becoming more like my dad. So I'll catch myself saying
The good
stuff.
parts.
Huh?
The good parts.
I'll catch myself saying stuff that I heard him tell me before,
Oh, okay.
good or bad. So I mean, regardless, like it made an impression on me. I heard it and I listened, or it
Mhm.
stuck with me. Um, some values, like I decide I'm not gonna pass that on. It's not something that I believe in anymore, or not something that I prioritize. Um,
Would you expect Austin to take care of you and your wife later in life?
um,
If they offered, would you decline?
so I guess that depends. Like, I wouldn't want to be a burden on my kids, so I want to try and make sure that I'm set up
Mhm.
to not be that burden. but stuff happens. If you do need something, then and family's the only people that you trust or that you can turn to. I would not expect my kids to turn their back on me. I mean, if it was hard, yeah, we'd all struggle together, but I wouldn't want to pull him down just for my sake. I think that all three kids could maybe come together and figure out how to help mom and dad.
Hmm. What would that look like?
So it wouldn't be a burden on just one. Like, we've got three kids, so it's not fair to expect one to take that responsibility. Um, I don't know, like, so my grandma had, on my dad's side, 6 kids. So each of those kids lived in the same area,
Hmm.
and they all had a bedroom for grandma. So grandma would spend 2 weeks with us, and then she'd say, I want to go spend, time to rotate. I'll go spend 2 weeks with so and so. So see you guys later. And then, like, 2 months, she'd come back and stay with us
Oh,
on, like, a
that's
2 week
what happened.
rotation thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't that she stayed with us on a permanent basis,
Hmm.
even though we had a permanent room set up for her. Um, so something like that. I mean, I've seen it work. So I would hope that my kids would uh, see. They haven't seen it happen, so they don't know that that could work. I've seen it happen, so I know it could work. But if my parents aren't going to stay with me, then there's no way that my kids would ever be able to witness and observe that kind of family dynamic in action. So they wouldn't even know to offer it. They wouldn't know how to support it. It wouldn't even cross their mind.
Hmm.
So I guess it's my responsibility to teach them, like, this is kind of my expectation that, mom and dad are going to try to be independent, but if we can't be, that you three kids, we're going to count on you for that help.
Okay.
Whether it's like the 30 y'all pitch in and pay the mortgage, or make some space available for us. We'll come visit you
Well, your
for
mortgage will probably be paid off
three,
by then.
3 months out of the year. I don't know, man. I just took on a 30-year mortgage at like 40 years old. So
Oh, that's true. Now that you say it that way. Uh, yeah, and I'm gonna have to start probably get one later this year. Oh, well, on that, then this would be a good segue. So you're about to navigate some career changes or a career transition right now. So how do you think through the uncertainty and the risk associated with this change? Imagine your personal ambitions should be aligned with kind of your family goals and whatnot. But how are you thinking through this over the next couple of weeks?
yeah, so I've actually taken a few weeks off of not really focusing too much on it and just enjoying time off with the kids and not being at the mercy of client calls or things like that. So, but when I do get back into it, I'm gonna have to think really hard as far as what are going to be my goals for the next year, 2 years, and 10 years, and how am I going to prioritize that? Just because, yes, having income is important, but I have so many other roles and responsibilities too that I need to balance. Friend, husband, father, son, grandson, um, business partner. Uh,
What's
so
one of those roles you're trying to boost up?
I want to boost up my role as business partner,
Hmm.
because I feel like specifically S2J has not been getting as much focus and time as I'd like to give it. And I feel that we all started S2J with really strong intentions to build a financial security for ourselves, or explore something new. And I feel like I we always had kind of a backup plan that took my focus away, and I want to be able to really, really give it a solid try, because working for others doesn't make me happy.
What? What part of working for others doesn't make you happy? What part of it?
Just knowing that like my efforts, it, I'm I'm always having to fight multiple battles when you're working for others. Like you have to convince the client something and sell to your boss, sell to your manager, sell all the way up the chain to get stuff done or to make a change or to try something new. There's a lot of risks involved, and that layers of bureaucracy can be draining.
Mm-hmm.
There's politics involved in that, and I don't like to play politics.
Ah, that explains why you're not even interested in U.S. politics, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think that's U.S. politics is different than office organizational social dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Politics in the sense of like building your case and protecting your territory, or I don't know. It's all the social dynamics that
Yeah.
doesn't interest me.
I think I had a similar feeling about working for others years ago. Not as strong as yours, right? I mean that's probably why we were always talking about S2J, and even before formally forming that, we were always bouncing ideas. But recently, I just thought back if I when Walmart teased with that opportunity recently, I was reflecting back about if I stayed at ASML in San Diego, or if I stayed with Air Liquide and still lived with some of the things you don't like about working for others. I was thinking my bank account and my 401k would probably be double, assuming I didn't do anything differently in terms of, you know, increasing my expenses as I got more income, as Jim tells everyone not to do. If I reflect on that, it makes me think I think I could work for, or most people should think that it's a viable path to being pretty financially independent. Like, I didn't think about how much jump a director to a senior director was. Like when I was always doing my, you know, 10-year, 20-year calculation, I always just assumed, oh, worst case, 5%, 5% growth of income every year
Mhm.
at 15% bonus. And then I thought every once in a while I might get a promotion and it's 20%. But then I didn't think about the stock options, the compounding effect. Oh, I'm not saying I could have been, but I could have been a half a millionaire right now. Again, assuming I didn't change my expenses. That's hard to say, right? I probably would have increased, and maybe I would have gotten a Tesla earlier, or finally been to the Caribbean, which I still haven't been. But yeah, that's why I became more sympathetic to people that at least stick with a corporate job, but don't complain about it. I'm not saying you did, but as long as you don't complain about it, I'm willing to be more empathetic to that situation than I was before.
I wouldn't say I was complaining about it, but I
I
would
know
also,
I'm not saying you were.
yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing's guaranteed though.
I
Like
know.
you could be a top performer or whatever, and all of a sudden your new boss comes in and they don't like you, or the new boss comes in and they say, hey, we're going to take this team in a different direction, and now you're not part of it because you're part of the old school, or it was great doing it the way that you used to do it, but now we're going to do things a new way, and you got to get with the program, or you're too slow, or there's other guys that can do it cheaper, faster, and now you're obsolete. So where's the loyalty there? I mean, you've now built this plan where you're going to be slowly working the corporate ladder to get up to senior director or VP or something like that, and then hopefully by the time they kick you out at 45 or 50, like you've amassed some small fortune to carry you. But I don't know. I'm more interested in building assets that will continuously, perpetually uh, provide value and be self-sustaining.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing's forever. I mean, the business model has a shift. Your customer sentiment changes, everything changes. But like, I feel like if I'm going to be putting that much effort into helping someone else with their business or some company with their niche product that they're focusing on, like a $500 million market that you got to travel around the nation to go sell, I may as well do it for myself. And then I can be king of my own small world. I don't need 500 million. I just need 15 million.
Yeah. In your Maserati. What's one thing you're trying to accomplish this year you think you're likely to fail?
Say again?
What's one thing you're trying to accomplish this year? Not necessarily a resolution, but what's one thing you're trying to do this year that you think you're likely not to succeed in?
Okay, well, let's say getting in shape by losing weight.
Say that. If you follow my YouTube shorts, you'll figure out easy ways to lose 15 pounds.
Yeah. So I think the last time I tried this, I set the bar too high, right? I was trying to lose 40 pounds because I was turning 40. I got to 20 pounds, which is great. And since then I've gained some of it back. So I'm probably not going to try to target for 40. I'll target for 20.
Okay. You'll do that. That's not
I mean, I've done 20 before, but I'm also older now and less energy. And like I said, I love to eat.
Yeah. I think eating a lot of barbecue, cutting the carbs, and eating once a day is a simple recipe to not get fat. I don't know if to lose weight, but not get fat. It's helped me so far.
So would you say that quality over quantity, or high quantity of high quality foods is still okay? Like
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, eating a ribeye doesn't have to be prime. Let's say a good grass-fed ribeye twice a week. It's expensive. What is it? $20 a pound. But if depending on when you get your cravings, if you eat it at the right time, I feel like you won't. Most people then won't crave the chips, won't crave the ice cream, and that works well for me. When I'm really craving those things, I got to eat as much steak as I can. And do your lipids check often in case your triglycerides or whatever it's called. Your cholesterol spikes.
Yeah,
it's unlikely to.
Well, having the junk food available is one thing. When the kids were really little and they weren't eating what we eat, like I didn't buy any of that easy cracker stuff. But now we do it because the kids eat it for their snacks at school. So it's easy for me to get into it.
Yeah.
I think having like healthier snacking options like carrot sticks or celery sticks or something like that is always good to have around.
Beef jerky.
Beef jerky. Yeah.
Do that. Make your own beef jerky.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. One of our Anna's sister's friend is making beef jerky out of her house and packages it up and sells it through her online store.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you know roughly how much she charges per pound? Is it like $30 a pound?
I think it's like $15 a pack, and a pack is like 5 ounces or something like that. Yeah.
Sounds like good margins.
Yeah, and she slices it really thin too. I guess she's got like a meat slicer or something that she can do really thin.
Good for her.
Beef jerky chips. Yeah. And she seasons it with like the Asian seasonings. So it's all really spicy. Even her lowest level of spicy is probably medium spicy anywhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much for your time. If people want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
They can reach out through Seymour, and Seymour can get them in touch with me.
Okay, leave comments below. and Justin will read them if you're looking for some business. I saw you do have a Yelp page.
Maybe. No, not anymore. It's not
Okay.
maintained.
I think that's where I saw it, but maybe not. Oh, that's right. Jim and I were supposed to do a Yelp automation for you a few years ago. But yeah, thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it. It was fun. Learned some things about you that I don't either forgot or didn't think to ask before. So
We'll have to turn the tables next time, and I'll come up with some questions, and
sure,
you'll get to be the subject of the interview.
that'd be fine. That'd be perfect. Well, have a nice day.
Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.